Today, we're going to talk about excuses. Are you an excuse maker, the master of excuses? And then at the end of the day, you're sitting down and you're feeling, oh, lazy. Why don't I have the willpower to get these things done? Well, guess what? Making excuses has nothing to do with laziness, and it has nothing to do with willpower, really. It has to do with your brain feeling overwhelmed and perceiving a threat. And that threat oftentimes are certain fears, and it feels not like a fear of a horror movie, but there are certain fears involved. And that's what we're going to talk about, because if you don't address your excuses and you're not starting to analyze why are you making all these excuses, you'll stay where you're at. You're not really moving forward. You're not going to be as productive. You're not going to feel good about yourself. So start conquering your excuses and learn the 3 fears that might hold you back and other strategies on overcoming those excuses and to be more productive. Welcome to Coffee with Coaches. I'm Heike Fallon, and I am a personal high performance coach, and I help my clients with self-leadership and a brain-based approach to bring their self-leadership to a next level.
Hello. Hi, I'm Shannon Paslakwa, and I too am a high performance coach, and I help women heal after miscarriage.
Yes, and there's plenty of our clients that make excuses, including us making excuses. Yep. And it's really about figuring out, or first knowing why we do this, right? Because it's not laziness. It's not a lack of willpower. It's actually the brain feeling overwhelmed. And what really happens is it could be that you didn't sleep well. It could be that you had other stress going on. It could be you have pain. It could be some relationship stress, work stress, whatever it is. It could be that you have something else is going on and you're already dealing with a lot of other things. And when you do, you're in survival mode. Mm-hmm. And there's no way you can actually perform really well when you're in a survival mode, in a fight and flight mode. And that you might not always feel that. Sometimes we do feel it, right? Then we feel like, okay, we're stressed and overwhelmed. Sometimes it's very settled though, and we may not realize it. But the key is we are usually, when there's an excuse, we're either overwhelmed or something else is holding us back.
Yeah, and I think that's the important part to identify, is what's holding you back, because you can come up, excuses come up, barriers come up. For me, like a barrier is the password, you know, and if I can't figure out the password to whatever it is I'm trying to get into, and I'm like, all right, bye. And I go away. It's like, okay, why am I not willing to put in probably 10 minutes to figure that out? And I think it's important to figure out. And I think a lot of it comes back to fear. And what are we afraid of? And identifying what that fear is. And I do this with some, different aspects of my life. Like, what am I afraid of? Why am I not doing that one thing?
Yep.
That could make an impact in my life and my family's life. Why am I not doing that? And I have to remind myself that there's the fear there.
Yeah, and to be clear, it doesn't necessarily feel like fear, like you watching a horror movie kind of, oh my God, I'm afraid. Yeah. Oftentimes these type of things are very settled, and it really requires self-awareness. But we're talking about, for example, oftentimes people have the fear of failing. Like, what if I do this now and I'm not gonna succeed? I'm not doing well. I'm, what if it doesn't work out?
Or what if it does work out and now I have extra work that I have to do?
Yeah, and how am I handling that? So there's a fear of what we call the fear of the outcome. So we are both high performance coaches, so we do help our clients exactly with these identifying these kind of fears. So one is definitely Like, what am I afraid of on the outcome perspective? Like, is there something, maybe whatever you're trying to do, you're not sure if it's going to be better than what you have. So you're afraid of what's going to come, because it's a little unknown at times, and the uncertainty and the unknown,
Mhm.
the brain usually is uncomfortable with. So the fear of the outcome is there. One other big thing my clients struggle with too is the process, the fear of the process.
Yeah.
Can I handle this? So if I start
Yeah.
this, or if I do this, is it too complicated, too much technology, or is it something I can handle? Or time-wise, can I handle it from a perspective of time? So the fear of actually doing what you're supposed to do. So it's
Yeah.
much easier to go, oh, you know what? I'm going to find some excuse to not do this because
Hmm.
it feels just so much more comfortable, right? It's growth, and stepping out of your comfort zone does not feel
Hmm.
great most of the time. It feels, you know,
It does. It can at times feel, I mean, we're going outside our comfort zone, so we're uncomfortable.
yeah.
That's the thing. But I think, we had a conversation about this a couple weeks ago about really figuring out what our why is and
Mhm.
the importance of it. And this is one of the reasons why it's important, because when things pop up and, you know, if something comes up in my business or there's something that I don't want to do, I can, if I have my why posted somewhere, or if I know exactly what it is that I'm working towards and why and who I'm helping and everything, it will get me through that uncomfortable time. It'll get me through that uncomfortable feeling of, okay, I don't want to do this, but this is why I'm doing it. So I think having a firm grasp of why you're doing it. And I think this could also, we've talked before about working out, like a lot of us will put an emphasis on, well, I'm working out because I want to lose 10 pounds or whatever. I think when we get real deep down into why, like I currently am working out so that I am around for my kids. So I have energy for my kids. I'm not working out to lose a certain amount of weight and look a certain way. I'm working out so that I can be there for my children and be a good mom.
So that's a fantastic strategy right there for the feel of the process, right? I mean, it works for all. The knowing your why and reminding yourself of the why, definitely very helpful. Like your example for the feel of the process. Like, I don't want to go through working out because it's hard, and
It's hard.
it takes time,
It takes time.
and I should really do other things, and then I have to shower afterwards. So there's all kinds of excuses we can come up with, right? But so reminding yourself why you're doing it is a really, really good strategy. So you can also watch our other video about the why and purpose. And also, I like to go back one more because there's a third fear. So we have the
Oh
fear.
yeah.
We do have the fear, and so and we're going to discuss more strategy, so stay tuned here. But so we do have the fear of the outcome, we do have the fear of the process. So the third one is really, and that's really the human species and how we function, is the fear of loss. We definitely don't want to lose what we have. And anything that's new or different or uncertain, we don't know if we're going to lose something that we're having right now. And is it really worth losing what we're having for something new? Is it really better, than what we have right now? So that is also a very, very strong reason why lots of people find excuses, because they don't want to lose what they have.
Yeah.
And so I think for those strategy, for particularly the loss too, is to really evaluate to, if I don't do anything, because clearly in my situation, I have what I have, right? But there's, you set the goals for specific reason, hopefully. So you should set goals. And when you have goals that you want to reach, and you have a vision, which we talked about too with the why, but if you have a vision and you set goals, the whole point is not to be anymore where you at now.
Right.
Right? That's the whole point of it. But yet at the same time, we don't want to lose what we got. That doesn't work. if you're setting goals, there's going to be a change. There's going to be, yes, we hope always for improvement or enhancement, but it can always mean sometimes we have to let something go in order to grow.
Yeah.
So we can't, and so then the question is always, if I don't do anything,
Right.
where will I
That's,
be in a year
yes.
from now, right? If
How
I
will I
stay,
feel?
how do I feel if I really don't do this? Like, and I'm not if I staying where I'm at now, am I okay with that? Is that something I want if I don't move forward? So I love that question usually
I
too.
think it's such a powerful question of, a year from now, 5 years from now, how am I going to feel if I don't go towards this goal?
If I don't do anything,
If I don't do anything, if I stay the way, if I just stay like this.
am I okay with that and the way I feel? And oftentimes that has helped my clients for sure to, when they start making the excuse to catch themselves, go, wait, 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 wait. I don't want to
Yeah.
stay where I'm at. I
Yeah.
do not want to be like this. I want to make a change. So that gives you a little bit of push and a motivation. Also, talking about motivation, always, when you set goals, keep them small, breaking down to small things to accomplish them. So that's another thing. Sometimes the excuses come because we feel it's too big. Like there's a
Yeah.
project, that's usually my kind of thing, right? There's like this huge project and I may have not broken it down in small
Yeah.
pieces. And then I'm like, oh, if I start this now, it's going to take forever because it's going to take X amount of time. And then I'm pushing it off because I just don't want to deal with it
Hmm.
being, such a big project. So breaking it down and knowing, you know what, if I do just one little thing now, accomplish that, oops,
Hmm.
dopamine release, which makes us feel better and keeps us motivated as well. But I have to really remind myself, break it down and do one small step at a time, feel the accomplishment. And also that helps when it feels overwhelming and that if you're afraid of the change, to make small changes by having small goals.
I like the 10-minute rule.
Oh, what
You
is it?
know,
Which one is that? I have 5-minute rule. What's your 10
I
minute?
mean, I don't know, maybe I made up the 10-minute rule. But it's just, if you just do something for 10 minutes,
Mhm.
the thing that you're avoiding, do it for 10 minutes. You don't want to go on that walk because whatever. Great. Just do it for 10 minutes. And if you don't want to continue, go back home. Most likely you're going to be okay continuing. Um, there's parts of my job that I don't want to do. Like, I love the coaching part.
Yeah,
That's what I love. There are other parts of it that I'm like, I don't want to do that. But do it for 10 minutes. And usually you're
yeah,
going to do it for a little bit longer. And if not, okay, walk away for a little bit. But at least you got 10 minutes worth of that work done. But
absolutely.
give it 10 minutes.
Yeah, I
Or
go.
if there's a problem you can't solve it for 10 minutes. If you're still not figuring it out, again, get up and walk away.
Yep, yep. I sometimes even 5 minutes is enough. If you think in your head just 5 minutes, depending on what you're doing. But the hardest thing is to get started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you get started, and think back right now, like the times when you were avoiding something or had excuse, and then you finally did it because there was a deadline or something, right? And you
Yeah.
finally did it, and it turned out to not being that bad.
Okay. For me, literally, this is every day with my dishwasher. I hate unloading the dishwasher. I hate loading dishes. I hate it. But it's like it literally takes 5 minutes out of my day. And then when I do it, I'm like, why did I resist that for so long?
Yeah, so here's actually another cool strategy for this kind of stuff. When we do things at the same time, we can rewire the brain differently. So because we're already going in with the mindset of like, oh, I don't want to do the dishwasher. By the way, I don't like doing the dishwasher either.
I don't like doing any of
But
the
here's
housework.
the thing, if you combine a task that you don't like doing with something else that
Yeah.
brings you joy. So turn on your
Turn
favorite
on music,
music.
iPod,
Or, I
or
mean, come on, like if you've done it with somebody else together and you're chit-chatting and it's
yeah,
not, it's like it goes by like that. And you didn't
yeah.
even realize you emptied the dishwasher. So oftentimes when we're doing task or starting the task and that we don't really like doing, combining that with something that we enjoy, we can actually rewire the brain to actually tricking your mind there into, hey,
Yeah.
maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I like it. And it's because you like
In the
it.
behavior science world, we call that pairing.
Yeah. Or
We
chunking.
pair something we don't like with something that we do like.
We chunk it.
Yep. Yep.
Chunk it
You
together.
know, that you brought up a good point, and we've talked about this. Of, you know, if you want to unload the dishwasher, do whatever, and you do it with someone else. And
Yep.
that I think goes back to accountability. And I think that's another step or strategy that we can use, is having accountability to do the hard things.
Yep.
Because science
Accountability.
has shown that when you have an accountability partner, it doesn't matter what it is. You know, oftentimes we think about it as like working out. Okay, well, I know so and so is going to meet me at the gym, and so I'm going to go. But it could also be doing work. You know, like we have held each other accountable because, you know, we do this weekly. You know, we could get online and just work by ourselves, but we're doing it together.
Yep. And it gets done.
There's so much to be said about accountability. I actually try to implement that in my miscarriage group. We have accountability partners to help with grief, because often we seclude ourselves and we will not go through the discomfort of the grief, and we kind of just ignore it. But if you have someone who is holding you accountable, this is why having a coach, even in grief, is so beneficial. Because if you have someone who is holding you accountable to go through the healing process,
Yep.
you're going to feel better and you're going to heal faster. So having accountability is super important.
Yeah, 100%. And yes, sometimes, I mean, there's accountability sheets where you can put in yourself, your accountability and all that kind of thing, but you got to really know who you are. And if that's sometimes certain tasks, yes, you can do with your self accountability. But when you're really struggling with certain other tasks that are very difficult for you, but you know they need to get done, having another person or a community involved in that really keeps you going, keeps your momentum going. So accountability, 100% an amazing strategy. Another thing, like I mentioned before, it's oftentimes that the system is overwhelmed. Our brain is overwhelmed. Our prefrontal cortex is overwhelmed. That's when where our decision making is, right? And where we come up with the really cool excuses that we have, they are formed right here in the frontal cortex. And if we're feeling stressed, if we're already feeling overwhelmed, if we're already feeling things are too much, if we're overbooking ourselves, we're not managing our time well, we're not sleeping well, and the overall system is already overran, statistically, we make more excuses. So it's also important not to just kind of go, oh, I have this excuse. How do I, figure out this excuse? But it's also about, in general, working on a more healthy, balanced lifestyle where you take care of yourself. So the self-care component, making sure you take breaks, making sure you manage your time, your sleep, and stress very well, your energy very well. Because once you have all of those things managed very well, and that's what I'm doing with the self-leadership, right? To really manage yourself very well, then your prefrontal cortex can think better. And when it can think better, you're less prone for excuses.
Interesting.
Yep. So think of it more as a bigger picture, right? It's generally talking about making sure that your system is healthy.
I love that.
That's not like you would have to really analyze, okay, what areas do I need to work on, right? Is this the sleep? Is it the time management? Am I scheduling myself? So again, those are type of things that, I do as a coach.
Coach's help. Yeah.
That's a coach's help. Obviously, you can work through that yourself as well. And we have lots of other topics that we covered, like time management and things like that. But Sometimes we have to look at the bigger picture, not just at the one area of where we're having our excuse or creating all these excuses. What else?
That's all I got.
What other strategies have you used? I definitely seem to sometimes let it go until it annoys me.
Well, and there is something to be said about that guy. I think there was a book written about it. Oh, this is going to drive me crazy because I'm not going to remember it. It's like The War of Art. I think that's it. And it's just like you procrastinate things and you put them off and off until it just bugs you so much that you have to do it.
That's
And
me.
then once you do it, like I am a procrastinator. And honestly, I do some of my best work when I have procrastinated. And when I write, I have like ideas in my head that go over and over and over and over. And like then I put it out, I type it out or write it out, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I feel so much better now that I got it out. But sometimes there is that war inside of you that it kind of takes over, and then once you get it done, then you feel better.
Well, and with that said, a strategy there is to check in more frequently. Like I didn't used to realize that I'm doing it as much until I really looked in the calendar how long I've been like, I've been working on it. It's not like I didn't work on it, but so infrequently
Yeah.
that at some point I was annoyed that it keeps being on my to-do list.
Yeah.
So
When you keep writing it every morning in your journal, like, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, and you keep
okay,
going
I
to the
don't
next
really
day.
want to do this. I don't want to write this on here again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's not like I didn't work on it. So it's not like it did not move at some point fast enough forward as it should be. And then at that point, I got like the feeling of annoyance. I've learned to not let it come that far anymore, that it
Mm.
annoys me, but actually paying attention to like, okay, this is the 10th time I'm writing it on my list.
So what? So like, what makes you go, okay, I'm going to do it today?
You know what? Honestly, most of the time it is that I did not make enough designated time available for those tasks that I
Mm.
thought I can do because I didn't really want to do them. I'm like, they were in a time slot that it got tossed out because something else happened that felt
Yeah,
like a
more
good
important.
excuse to be more important.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I really went like, no, I got it. This needs to be in the calendar. I'm scheduling, it's blocked and it cannot be moved. And making that commitment to myself that I cannot move it and having an adequate amount of time available. Because again, it was usually when you keep it too small, sometimes you have to start over and over and over again. And then
Mm.
I finally started and I got going, but then I ran out of time because I didn't have made enough time available to actually finish. I could have, it created this own momentum, but I didn't have enough time to finish. So I started
Yeah.
with those things to look at, okay, they've been pushed, they need to really be finished now. Here's a big chunk of time. I'm going to get started and make really a big wave of accomplishment on this
Yeah.
because too many little steps sometimes, then I get annoyed because it doesn't get done.
Well, and you say the big wave, like I do think, and you said it before, I think the dopamine release is really important. And working for the dopamine release. I think also not beating yourself up and thinking, talking to yourself in a positive way.
Yep.
Because when you say negative things to yourself, that's not going to help at all. So I'm not saying like be fake, but talk to yourself in a positive way that you can do it. You are able to do it. When you tell yourself, oh, this is too hard, or I can't get through this, then it's going to be too hard and you can't get through it. And you're not going to be able to put your full effort in. But when you speak positive words to yourself, your brain believes whatever it is you're telling yourself,
Yeah.
your brain believes it. And then your body believes it. So when you say the positive things, when you write the positive things, if you're journaling, If you're doing gratitude, if you're starting your morning with a mantra, when you encompass that positivity, it's really going to help you make that first step. Like, okay, yeah, I am smart enough to figure this out. I can do this. Okay, let's go.
Yep. Growth mindset. Absolutely.
Yep.
It's a foundation, because if we don't have a growth mindset, positive growth mindset, um, we'll find excuses to stay where we are, and then we're not
Yeah.
growing. Then we're not
And then
moving
we're
forward.
stuck.
And celebrating yourself, I 100% agree. I used to be not good at that, celebrating myself and my accomplishments, even the small ones. So that can help us too, to recognize, hey, I'm doing really well actually, and I should really keep going and not
Yeah.
finding more excuses. So really, if we summarize it right now, it's really identifying your barriers and identifying and analyzing your excuses. See what kind of fears do we have there, right? Is it the fear of the outcome? Is it fear of the process? Is it the fear of loss? And then with that said is like, am I completely overwhelmed somewhere? Is it, do I need to address other areas of my life? Having a positive mindset, accountability, as well
Yeah.
as celebrating yourself. Those are really key strategies to deal with the excuses and make less excuses.
Yeah. That we all have. We
That
just
we all
need
have,
to,
we all do. It's
yeah,
the brain is constantly trying to protect us and keep
protect
us
us.
alive. And when we are creating barriers and having excuses, it's because we're perceiving a threat, and we need to just manage that and be aware of it, manage that. And again, you can reach out. Shannon's information is below this video. My information is below this video. Coaching is a fantastic tool for this.
Mhm.
I've helped many of my clients, and
Yeah. I mean, I
including
have a coach
myself.
for this. I like my coach is specifically to my accountability partner and to push me like through the things that I don't want to do.
Yep, because we have our own coaches as well, because we're human
Yep.
beings with a normal brain.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Shannon. This was great. Hopefully very
Yeah.
helpful for everyone listening. And yeah, check out again, we made a video about why, finding your
Mhm.
why, identifying your why, as well as purpose and mission. And that is definitely a key helpful tool when you're making too many excuses. So watch that video right here.
Perfect. It was good seeing you.
Good seeing you too.